What is up everyone? In this video we are comparing the Saucony Ride 14 against the Pegasus 38. Hey, what's up everyone and welcome back to 40 Runs. How are we doing, people? Let me know in the comments why you're down here. Tell me, have you got either of these, or maybe you've got the 37 and the 13? I'd be very interested to know. Now, last year I said that the Ride was the be-all and end-all in terms of daily trainers. They absolutely smashed it and actually made the Pegasus look a bit silly, I think. But the Pegasus has come out, they've tuned it, they've got rid of some of the sort of niggly problems they had with the 37. The Ride's sort of a minor evolution. But which one is best? Well, in this video we're going to find out. So let's get stuck in. Right, so let's get stats and features done. It's only going to take 2 seconds. I've done videos on both of these shoes, so check those out. Let's start with the Ride, well, 13.2. It's called 14, but let's call it 13.2 because it's basically the same shoe as the 13. They've made mild updates to the upper. We've still got Power Run midsole in the shoe. It's 125 pounds, 9.4 ounces for a US 9, 266 grams. Triflex outsole, 8mm drop. That's about it. And then we've got the Pegasus 38, which has been, again, updated in the upper. Interesting, the manufacturers are doing mild updates this year, but they have tweaked a few things on the Pegasus to get rid of some of the irritating things from the 37. But we've still got the React foam and the Air Zoom pods in it. We've got engineered mesh upper, super grippy outsole, fits true to size, 10mm drop. It's £20 cheaper at £105. And for my UK 9.5, this is coming, I've got a bit of grass on there, this is coming in at just under 11 ounces, which you could argue is heavy. And in fairness, in hand, this feels a lot heavier than the Ride. So that's the stats and features done. Let's get into how they feel and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so in terms of fit and feel, Nike have done a very good job in terms of improving the fit of this shoe versus the 37. It's definitely wider, there's definitely a little bit more height in the toe box. So they've eradicated the problems of last year's model in terms of it being too thin and the upper not being very good. One complaint about the upper on this new version though is it's quite thick. It does make you feel a little bit warm when you're out there running in it, but it is definitely more comfortable than last year's model. They've gone to great lengths to remove the problems in terms of heel slippage, so the shoe is rocking it out in that aspect. But it does feel kind of heavy on foot. That is one of my complaints. It is a softer ride, I think, than the 37. I don't know whether that's just me, but let me know in the comments. But it definitely feels a little bit softer, which actually I appreciate it. I really do like the feeling from this shoe, be it as it is a little bit heavier. But I don't want to focus too much on the weight because a weight for me in a daily train is not the be-all and end-all, okay? But it is noticeable in terms of the difference. But it is a softer ride. Definitely feels like it's got a little bit more stack than the Ride, but they've definitely made improvements for this shoe versus the 37. It's in a much more competitive shoe against the Ride series. The Ride fits true to size. The upper's been improved and made it more breathable, which is great news because the previous version was a little bit on the warm side. It's not as warm as this, but it was definitely warmer than this shoe. The Power Run midsole's fab. It's a great return of energy, but it's not soft, too soft, sorry. It's just that nice, for me, sort of balance of stiffness and softness. It's in that sweet spot for me. I do like a firmer ride. I can definitely feel the ground more in this shoe versus the peg. The peg definitely feels a little bit more springy, which is nothing. It's not a complaint, by the way. It's just the feeling. You know what it's like. You get your own little ways, don't you, with your shoes. The lacing's worse in here. The lacing is set up in terms of lockdown. It's actually better on the Pegasus. It's a little bit annoying that they kept the laces from the Ride 13. That was another thing that let it down. But this is definitely a setup in terms of comfort. Both the shoes are. So you can do plenty of miles in them, which I really appreciate from both the manufacturers. But they haven't really changed anything too much on this shoe. This is basically still a Ride 13. So which one would I recommend? Well, personally, I've got to stick to my guns, and I would say the Ride, even though this is still basically a 13. They've done a great job on the Pegasus 38. They really have. They've improved it massively. They've kind of got back to where they were before the 37. Even though I stand by my comments and think that Nike, being the innovators that they are, should really up their game in terms of daily trainer. They've done a fab job. It didn't suit me, but they've done a fab job with the Invincible, coming with something new, even though that shoe was heavy. I think they could do something really cool and radical with the Pegasus, so it'd be interesting to see how they get on with it. But for me, I still would send you, maybe it's a little bit controversial, but to the Ride. I think the Ride is just that, it's just that bit lighter. It's just, yeah, it's more expensive, but there's a more of a ground contact feeling from the shoe. I just think it's a back to basics daily trainer that can do everything well. The Pegasus can do everything, but I just think that the Ride just nicks it still that little bit more. So that's my recommendation to you. Out of these two shoes, they're both good, but I would send you definitely to the Ride 14.